Good day, everyone. Stefan here, as always. Listen, today I have a lot of energy today, so I hope you guys are staying with me. It's going to be boom, 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 boom. It's going to be tons and tons of value, and there is something I really want to share with you that I actually learned recently. But this just shows you that um, I'm human like anyone else. I learn things all the time, and I apply them, and I see what works and what doesn't. And I said to you guys today, I said this yesterday, that I will be doing this live Facebook health show 3 times a week. I think I'll probably end up doing it every day because there's just so much to give and so much to share. Now, I am going to allow all the comments so we can get all interactive. Good evening, Julie. I hope we're all doing well. And today I want to tune in with something that is really, really special to me, and that is my sleep. How many of you guys like your sleep? Good evening, Mags. I hope you're doing well. Dad is here. Sweet. Everyone is joining us already. Awesome, guys. Now, I developed this health hack about sleep, and we've talked enough about sleep, so I'll try to keep this short and specific to be practical. But I developed this health hack from someone called Brendan Burchard, and he's a really famous guy. Type on YouTube if you want. Brendan Burchard. He's a life coach, and he's helped many thousands and millions of people, and he's a published author. But because his routine and his daily level of activity is so high, like me, he has to think of these hacks to perform well. So one thing I wanted to share with you today is how you can hack your health in terms of getting a better night's sleep. Because here's the thing. When I was a little bit younger and a little bit more naive, I used to think that your diet was everything. And then I used to think that your sleep was everything. And then I used to think that supplements was the best thing in the world. Now I understand that none of that really matters unless you hack your quality of sleep. And I'll teach you exactly why. So if you stay until the end, I will share with you this principle that I learned. And I want to see how many of you have heard of it, because I don't think you would have. But it's really, really simple. And this whole presentation today actually came out of the blue because I wasn't going to talk about sleep again. But then I gave this talk maybe 2 years ago in the Excel Arena in London. And one of the topics I talked about was the quality of sleep. And it got such massive, it was like a massive talking point. So I thought I would share a few of things that people asked me and a few of things that I learned along the way. Because if someone has some problems when it comes to sleeping and health, I'm sure other people have the same problems too. I just want to hear how many of you guys actually really happy with your sleep, because my personal story goes like this. I've never been a good sleeper. I've never had quality sleep because mom's the same, dad is the same. And I just used to think that you get it genetically. So I just kind of dealt with it throughout all of my university years, like 5 years of studying. I would go to bed at like 2 o'clock and I wake up at 7 or 8, really tired. And I ended up falling asleep in a lot of lectures. There's loads of pictures of me and my friends taking them when I was asleep and like napping on my books that I should have been listening. But it wasn't possible for me to do anything about it because I didn't know what to do. And then I stumbled across a few books and I started to read a little bit more about it. Actually, if you haven't read this book, it's called Sleep Smarter by Sean Stevenson. I strongly recommend it. It's not a big book. It's really small. Really, really practical advice in here. And it goes into the science behind why sleeping is a lot more important than we think. But let me ask you this question. How many of you can relate to this situation? Has there been an occasion in the last 4 weeks that you've had 5 hours of sleep or less? Yes or no? So in the last 4 weeks, has there been an occasion where you've had 5 hours of sleep or yes? Comment below, let me know, because you guys are the people that, well, you're not alone. Let me tell you this. I've definitely been there. But if you said yes, you join 1/3 of the population in Britain. 1/3 of the population in Britain gets 6 hours or less sleep a night, which is insane because there was this stigma about if you're getting older, you need less sleep. And now actually the science shows us that this isn't the case. It's not true. It just isn't true. And some people get away with sleeping less, yes, but those are the people that actually, when they sleep, they get quality sleep. And the emphasis on today's talk is about quality. Mags is saying she's never slept very well. Mags, I hope I've got a few things for you in my bag of tricks tonight. So I'll show you in a minute what are the things you can do to try and improve your quality of sleep. Because I'll tell you what, guys, once you hack the sleep, everything else becomes so much better. So much better. Now, we know why, because when you wake up and you've not had a good night's sleep, what's the first thing that Julie's saying? A bottle of wine, honey. A glass of wine actually helps, Julie, but a bottle maybe a bit too much. But let's go back to this. So you wake up in the morning and you feel grumpy and you feel tired, and have you had this like foggy head before? I still get that, by the way. I'm not perfect. There's loads of times where I don't get a good night's sleep, and that's because I don't follow the rules. Some people, like my other half, they're very lucky. They can fall asleep on a rock. They can fall asleep under a tree outside in the freezing cold weather. Some people are just like that. However, a lot of people actually, like anything in your health, you've got to work to make it happen. You've got to work for that quality sleep. And there are really three main big reasons why we need sleep. Three big reasons. Number one is restoration, and that's just this idea. It's quite intuitive, but essentially everything you do throughout the day, all the calories you burn, all the muscle repair, you just need to rebuild overnight. This is the number one principle of health. Otherwise, you will die really young. The second one is energy conservation, which basically means that you essentially sleep to save calories. Otherwise, your body will be constantly consuming stuff. And again, the aging process will become very quick. And the third and final main part of why we sleep is actually something that people don't think about. And those people of you who are forgetful and who can't find their words, it's about memory consolidation. What we know is that when you've tried to learn a task, but you've not had a good quality sleep, that ability to learn the new task is completely smashed. So if you're finding it difficult to learn new things or to learn new languages or to learn different skills, it might be that your quality of sleep is not there. You might be getting 6, 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep in bed, but it doesn't mean you're getting quality sleep. Unless you measure it, you don't know if you're getting quality sleep. So yeah, this is really, really important, memory consolidation. We know that when you get a good night's sleep, actually learning a complex task like, I don't know, learning a new recipe or learning how to read in a different language or learning how to change your baby's nappies if you've never changed them before, they're complicated tasks. Now, that can be actually really, really helped or enhanced if you get a good night's sleep. But don't get me wrong, there's many, many more benefits if you actually manage to get a good night's sleep. Some of those benefits are improving your testosterone level. This is really, really, really important for people. There's loads of other things. But one of the things that I think people need to understand is sleep can also affect your weight and your performance as well. For example, if you're not sleeping properly, or if you're not getting a good night's sleep, your body can start producing or enhancing something called your ghrelin levels. And ghrelin is a hormone which basically makes you hungry. Ghrelin, when you produce this hormone, means that your body is craving for sugar, carbohydrates and sugar, same thing. Okay, so obviously you can see how sleep can also affect your weight indirectly, and also promotes health. It promotes healthy skin. It promotes, like we said, memory and just appearing young and youthful. I will never forget when I started my first business and I wasn't sleeping properly. You can just see the bags under my eyes appearing and the wrinkles. So sleep is really, really important stuff. But one of the coolest things I find when it comes to sleep is this. How many of you guys have heard of the lymphatic system? Do you know what the lymphatic system is? It's basically a system which cleanses all the waste products, and it's only it's only activated by movement. So when you move your skeletal muscles, like your arms, your legs, when you're moving about, this system basically flushes and this fluid goes around your body and it cleans all the waste products, all the toxins, all the crap basically out of your body. But here is the interesting thing. Guess what? The lymphatic system, it's like a channel of little tubes that go around your body. It actually stops around here, about your neck level. So what the hell happens for your brain? How do you clean your brain? How does it happen? I'm glad you asked. It turns out that only when you sleep, and when you're sleeping at night, some of the cells in your brain basically shrink in size, which allows more space between different parts of the brain for a specific fluid to go around to clean all the brain cells and all the debris. We call basically all the rubbish. But this is my message. So me and you go to sleep, but your brain doesn't go to sleep. It only happens, this cleaning process only happens if you're in deep sleep. So it's not just about how long you sleep, it's about the quality of your sleep. Make sense? Awesome, 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 awesome. I found this crazy study which was saying that if you sleep 5 hours or less, you're 50% more likely to become obese or overweight. How crazy is that? If you sleep 5 hours or less on regular occasions, you're 50% more likely to become obese or overweight. And again, it goes back to your hormonal production. It's to do with ghrelin, which basically, the more ghrelin you produce, the more your brain thinks I need sugar, and the more you get the cravings for the next day. But also, this is an important one for now because we're in this pandemic where people are panicking about their health. And yes, it's really serious. But the worst thing you can do is to feel stressed, because stress reduces your immune response. And your immune system is what fights disease. And when you get less sleep or less quality sleep, that increases your stress levels, and therefore it decreases your immunity. See, I'm not just bragging on about this. There is definitely important reasons behind sleeping and behind getting good quality sleep. Okay? Now, what is the solution? You've been waiting to hear this. How long have I been going on for now? I don't know. I've lost track of time. 12 minutes. I'm not doing too bad. For the last 12 minutes, we've been talking about why is sleep so important. For the next 2 minutes, I want to share with you this hack that, again, I stole from someone, but I think it's really cool. And the hack goes like this. If you want to get the best night's sleep, there's tons and tons of stuff you can do. And your sleep doesn't just get affected by one thing. It gets affected by many different things. But if you use this principle, you're much more likely to enjoy your sleep and get a good night's sleep. I've shared a similar rule before, but it's actually, the rule is the same, but actually the principle is completely different. We call it the sleep 3, 2, 1 rule. Here we go. It's another rule. I'm actually going to write it down here for you guys so you remember what the numbers stand for. Sleep 3, 2, 1 rule. Has anyone heard of this rule before? And it's not my 3 to 1 rule, by the way, which is not to do with sleep. This is completely different. Has anyone heard of this before? Yes or no? Awesome. Then you guys will find it interesting. So the number 3 stands for the number of hours that you should go without food before going to bed. So 3 hours before bed, no big, large meals. It's really, really important. We know that actually limiting your meals, like your big, heavy meals before bed, is proven to work really well for weight loss, for calorie restriction, but also for improving quality of sleep. Have you guys heard of dim light melatonin onset? I'll write it down here again. Dim light melatonin onset. What does that mean? I'm getting really geeky tonight. But this is why, because I want to filter out people that don't want to be here, don't want to hear about health. I don't have a problem with that. If you guys want to be strong, be resilient, and kick ass in life, awesome. You'll find this helpful. But basically, this dim light melatonin onset is when your body begins to just to wind down in preparation for sleep. And this is when it starts to produce a hormone called melatonin. We should all have heard of melatonin by now. I've made enough videos about sleep. Melatonin helps you go to sleep, basically. And for most of us, this DLM, MO can start, it begins around 8 p.m. So for most of us, not for everyone. So if you're eating, and I'm guilty of doing that sometimes, if you're eating a meal at like 9:30, it's massively affecting how your brain and your body are producing melatonin, and therefore will affect how you're sleeping. Does that make sense? And also there are many, many more reasons why you should have a big meal before bedtime, or what kind of meals you have, which is also more important. There's something called, in chiropractic and medicine as well, we call it dyspepsia, which for most of you is just indigestion. It's just upset tummy. And this dyspepsia can be affected by large meals, heavy meals, like fatty meals in the evening. So when you lie down and you've got your like sphincter here, which is a little channel, you get a lot of indigestion, you get a lot of heartburn. This is really typical for a lot of men with big bellies. They lie down and their food they've just eaten pushes everything up, and the channel can still be open, which creates a lot of acid reflux. So the number one rule is 3 hours before bedtime, no food. If you can, especially no big meals, right? Mags is saying never eat after 7 p.m. Awesome. Unless you go to bed at 8 or 7:30, Mags, then it's a problem. But again, it's all relative. So 3 hours, remember the 3, 2, 1 rule. 3 hours before bed, no big meals. 2 hours before bed, no work. Put everything down, forget about the emails. I'm so guilty of that sometimes. But I'm mindful, and we need these tiny little hacks and these tiny little health hacks to just give us a reminder or the inspiration from time to time that life is just so much better when you feel healthy. The trouble is, most of us haven't even experienced what it feels to feel good. I sometimes explain it to people like this. Imagine if you're driving a Porsche or a Ferrari, but you're limited to 30 miles an hour. How annoying is that? The human body is designed for just wellness and for constant feeling good. And yes, you'll get these dips, but if you know how to avoid all the crap in your life, it should be much better. You want to age older, but feel younger. Remember this. I'll never forget when one of my really, really old clients, the lady's 94. And I said to her, what is your health goal? And she said to me, I'm getting older. I just want to feel younger. And I thought, wow, that's awesome. We don't have to wait until 94 to do that. You can be 14, 24, 54, doesn't matter. So rule number 1 is 3 hours before bedtime, no big meals. Rule number 2 is 2 hours before bedtime, no work. Rule number 3, 1 hour before bedtime, no light, no phones, no technology. Okay, we'll call it no screen time. Does that make sense? Again, that's linked to something called blue light, and blue light is associated with reducing your melatonin levels. So again, if you're just smashing your body with bad stuff from your diet and from work and from screen time, no wonder why so many people struggle to sleep. Awesome. Awesome. I hope that makes sense, guys. I really hope that you write these down, because there's tons of stuff that we can talk about, but I just like to give people practical solutions. So I call them health hacks. But if you think about the sleep 3, 2, 1 rule, next time you'll hopefully associate this with less heavy meals. No spooky nights, Max says. Less heavy meals 3 hours before bedtime. No work 2 hours before bed, and 1 hour before bedtime, no screen time. Try it and see what that brings you. Guys, what is your biggest takeaway message from today? I want you to tell me. I want you to write it down below, because as much as you learn from me, I also learn from what helps you and what doesn't help you, because I understand that people have a life. No one is as passionate. Not everyone is as passionate as I'm about health. You don't have to be, but I really, really appreciate you guys. For those of you who are interested, I still have a downloadable form for the Better Brain Diet Table. See if I can share with you, actually. I would love to see if I can show you what it looks like. It's a really simple table. Hopefully I can share my screen with you. Awesome. I think you can see now. Have a look at this. Has it worked? Yeah, it looks a little bit like this. So we call it the Better Brain Diet Table, and it has a green section with all the meats and fish that are good for you, the vegetables, the fruits, the oils, the fats, the grains, the nuts, the seeds. It's got the orange section, and it has the bad red section. That's the section you should stay away from. Like I said, this is really simple illustration of what I use to show people what to eat, what to avoid. Saves you tons and tons of time and energy. I hope you find it helpful. I will put a little downloadable link here so you guys can get access to it. And if there is anything else that I can help with, let me know. Don't forget that we have our first workshop next Wednesday at 7 p.m., which is Wednesday, 13th of May, 7 p.m. It's free to register. I have some spaces available still. I'm nervous because it's my first one that I'm doing live, but I'm going to be talking about how to boost your health naturally during this lockdown. I think you'll find it really helpful. Love and appreciate you guys. I'll leave the link here below. And if you have any questions, let me know. Okay? Peace out. Speak soon.